Money can buy almost anything, but every so often it runs into a wall. A house so vast, so absurd, so laced with royal history, or private security, or sheer scale that even the richest people alive look at the price tag and quietly step back. These are not homes in the ordinary sense. They are fortresses, palaces, and monuments to wealth so extreme that owning one isn't really about shelter anymore. It's about power, legacy, and proving that money truly has no ceiling. Today we're counting down the most expensive houses in the world, the ones that even billionaires can't afford, and by the end, you'll understand exactly why some things stay out of reach, no matter how much you're worth. Let's start with the one property that towers above every other residence on Earth, even though it isn't technically for sale and never will be. Buckingham Palace, the official residence of the British monarch in London, carries an estimated value of around $4.9 billion, making it, on paper, the single most expensive house in the world. Inside its walls are 775 bedrooms, 78 bathrooms, 92 offices, and 19 staterooms, spread across roughly 828,000 square feet, with a private garden alone stretching across 40 acres in the heart of one of the most expensive cities on the planet. But here's the catch that makes Buckingham Palace such a perfect opening chapter to this story. It is crown property, held in trust for the nation, rather than owned outright by any individual, which means it can never actually be purchased, no matter how much money you have sitting in the bank. Even the wealthiest tech founder or oil magnate on Earth could not simply write a check and move in. It's the ultimate tease, a number so large it makes every other billionaire mansion look almost affordable by comparison, while remaining permanently, completely off the market. If Buckingham Palace represents old-world royal wealth, the next entry on our list represents something entirely different. Modern billionaire ambition taken to its most extreme possible conclusion. Antilia, located in Mumbai, India, is widely considered the most expensive privately owned home ever built, with valuations that have ranged as high as $1 to $2 billion, depending on the year and the source. It was constructed for Mukesh Ambani, the chairman of Reliance Industries, and one of the richest men in Asia, and it rises 27 stories into the Mumbai skyline, home to just Ambani, his wife, and their 3 children, along with an enormous staff required to maintain it. Antilia reportedly includes multiple helipads, a 3-story parking garage capable of holding well over 100 vehicles, a health club, a ballroom, a temple, and even its own snow room designed to blast artificial snow and cold air for relief from Mumbai's punishing heat. What makes Antilia so extraordinary isn't just the price, it's the sheer audacity of building something on that scale for a single family in one of the most densely populated cities on the planet. It stands less like a home and more like a private skyscraper, a physical monument to what unlimited capital looks like when it's poured into a single address. From there, we move to a very different kind of excess. The story of the one in Bel Air, which for years was treated as the ultimate cautionary tale of mega mansion ambition gone wrong, developed by film producer turned real estate mogul Niall Niami. The one sprawled across more than 100,000 square feet on a Bel Air hilltop, and at its most ambitious was marketed with an asking price of $500 million, a number that, if it had ever actually sold for that, would have made it the single most expensive private home ever sold in American history. Inside were multiple swimming pools, a nightclub, a bowling alley, a beauty salon, and a moat that wrapped nearly all the way around the property. But the fantasy came crashing down under a mountain of construction debt and legal battles. And the one eventually went into receivership. It was listed for auction at $295 million in early 2022, and ultimately sold for a fraction of even that reduced price, $141 million, to Richard Sagian, the founder of the fast fashion company Fashion Nova. The lesson buried inside the one story is one worth sitting with. Even in a world of 9-figure homes, there's a difference between what a house is worth on paper and what someone will actually pay for it, and the gap between fantasy and reality can be enormous, even at the very top of the market. Speaking of numbers almost too large to comprehend, In 2026, a Bel Air estate, known as the crown jewel of Los Angeles, hit the market at $400 million, instantly becoming the most expensive residential listing ever publicly offered in the United States. Sitting on an 8-acre parcel with sweeping views over the Bel Air Country Club, downtown Los Angeles, the Pacific Ocean, and the surrounding canyons, the estate is approached by a dramatic 1,500-foot-long driveway, lined with manicured hedges and imported plants designed to shield residents from the outside world entirely. Inside, the amenities read like a 5-star resort rather than a private residence. A full spa, hot and cold plunge pools, a sauna, massage suites, a private salon, a luxury gym, a Pilates studio, an art storage room, multiple safe rooms, and even an X-ray machine for in-home medical appointments. The estate has reported ties to Qatar's royal Al Thani family, and if it sells anywhere near its asking price, it will shatter every previous American real estate record on the books. What's fascinating is that even among circles where 9- and 10-figure net worths are common, a $400 million single-family home remains a genuine outlier, the kind of purchase that gives even seasoned billionaires pause. Not every entry on this list is brand new. Some of the most jaw-dropping price tags in real estate history belong to homes that made headlines years ago and still define what too expensive really means. Updown Court in Surrey, England, set in 58 acres of English countryside, spans more than 100,000 square feet, and was once marketed at well over $100 million, filled with amenities like multiple swimming pools, a private cinema, a bowling alley, and even a heated marble driveway designed to melt snow on contact. Around the same era, a Bel Air mansion built by developer Bruce Makowski hit the market with an asking price of $250 million, featuring 12 bedrooms and 21 bathrooms, a number so aggressive at the time that even Makowski himself admitted, in his own words, that the price sounded almost absurd. These homes matter to this story because they show that the race toward ever higher price tags isn't new. It's been building for over a decade, with each new mega listing trying to outdo the last in scale, amenities, and sheer shock value. Then there's the Yellowstone Club 7, the pinnacle, widely regarded as the largest property inside the world's most exclusive private golf and ski community. Covering 57,000 square feet and packed with 123 rooms, including 10 bedrooms, a massive spa with its own massage area, indoor and outdoor pools, and fireplaces scattered throughout the property, it represents a completely different flavor of ultra-luxury, one built not around a city skyline or an ocean view but around total seclusion in the mountains of Montana, accessible only to members of one of the most restrictive private clubs on Earth. And on the current open market, the ultra-luxury landscape keeps climbing. Robb Report's most recent survey of the most expensive homes for sale found a combined asking price across the top listings of more than $4.1 billion, with an average price of $164 million per home, ranging from a $110 million cliffside estate in Malibu, once owned by television legend Johnny Carson, to a 75-acre luxury ranch in Aspen, owned by California billionaires Stuart and Linda Resnick, listed at $300 million, all the way to a newly built Doha, Qatar palace priced at $114 million, its interiors so heavily marbled and gilded that visitors compare it directly to the Palace of Versailles. There's another layer to this story that most people never think about, and that's the world of homes that were never even meant to be sold, but exist purely as private trophies for families whose wealth spans generations rather than a single lucky break. Consider the palaces of the Gulf states, where royal families have poured staggering sums into residences that blend Islamic architectural tradition with the most advanced modern engineering money can buy. These homes often remain entirely out of public view, hidden behind walls, private roads, and layers of security that make even Beverly Hills mansions look modest by comparison. Reports on some of these estates describe underground levels rivaling the square footage of the visible structure above ground, indoor water features that mimic entire rivers, and staff quarters larger than most American houses. The reason so few of these properties ever appear on official rankings is simple. They were never listed, never appraised for a public sale, and never intended to be anything other than permanent family seats, meant to be passed down for centuries. In a strange way, that permanence is its own kind of ultimate luxury, a house so secure in its ownership that it never has to prove its worth on the open market at all. Then there's the psychological side of owning something this expensive, which rarely makes it into the glossy real estate listings, but is just as important to understanding why even billionaires hesitate before signing on the dotted line. Owning a $400 million estate isn't just a financial decision, it's a lifestyle commitment that reshapes everything around it. Insurance alone on a property of that scale can run into the millions annually. Security teams need to be assembled and paid year-round, and something as simple as replacing a broken pane of imported glass or servicing a custom elevator system can cost more than an average family's yearly income. Billionaires, who could technically afford the purchase price, often walk away specifically because the ongoing maintenance and liability represent a kind of complexity that doesn't align with how they actually want to live day to day. It's part of why so many of the homes on this list have changed hands for a fraction of their original asking price, or sat on the market for years without a single serious offer. The truth is, past a certain point, a house stops being a purchase decision and starts being a full-time responsibility, one that even people with 10 and 11-figure net worths sometimes decide simply isn't worth taking on. So what does all of this actually tell us? It tells us that at the very top of the housing pyramid, price stops being about square footage or bedroom count and starts being about scarcity, symbolism, and story. A $400 million estate isn't really competing with other houses, it's competing with yachts, private jets, and art collections for a billionaire's discretionary spending, and even then, most billionaires will still say no. It also tells us that owning the most expensive house in the world is often more burden than blessing, staff numbering in the dozens, security costs running into the millions annually, and maintenance bills that would bankrupt an ordinary multimillionaire within a few short years. And it tells us that some prizes, like Buckingham Palace, aren't even really for sale at all, no matter how large the theoretical number attached to them might be. They exist simply to remind the rest of us just how far the ceiling of wealth actually extends, and just how much higher it can still climb. And that's really the heart of what makes this list so fascinating to look at, year after year. It isn't just about who has the most money, it's about who is willing to convert that money into brick, marble, and square footage on a scale most of us will never see in person. For every estate that sells, there are dozens more that sit empty, waiting for a buyer wealthy enough and bold enough to take on not just the price tag, but everything that comes with it. Some, like Buckingham Palace, will simply never sell at all, existing purely as a benchmark for the rest of the market to measure itself against. Others, like the one in Bel Air, serve as a permanent reminder that ambition and reality don't always match up, even when hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. And a few, like Antilia, stand as proof that when a family truly wants to build the biggest, most audacious home imaginable, no city skyline, zoning restriction, or price tag will stop them. From Antilia rising 27 stories above Mumbai, to a $400 million Bel Air estate shattering American records, to a palace that will never once change hands no matter who wants it, these homes represent the absolute outer edge of what money can buy, and in Buckingham Palace's case, what it never actually can. They aren't just houses, they're monuments, built to outlast their owners, their fortunes, and often their families' entire legacies. And as the ultra-luxury real estate market keeps climbing year after year, one thing is certain. Somewhere out there, another mansion is already being built to break every record on this list. And when it lists, the whole world will once again ask the same question we started with tonight. Just how expensive can a house actually get?